Something I live by is, I don't know if this is necessarily a motto, but I would say stay consistent and stay true to who you are, because if you're offering the world who you are as a person, you're offering the world something that nobody else can. So in the end of the day, yes, I would say just stay consistent and be you. That's a motto that I live by day in and day out. And also be very transparent with people, or be transparent with everybody. Just show tell everybody how it is in the moment, so then you never have to live with that weight on your shoulders. Be that selfish person and be transparent so that you don't have to carry around the weight. Let those people carry the weight if they can't speak their mind.
Hey, why you act the way you acting on the daily? Why you run your mouth until I'm crazy? Why you talking like our love ain't enough? Why you acting like my ex is trying for? She said it's coffee and it's just so we can speak. You always telling me that I'm just overly naive.
What's up, my name is Rowlan. I'm a hip hop artist, originally from Massachusetts. Now I live in Los Angeles, California. So I'm from a small town called Harwich, Massachusetts. It's on this other small place called Cape Cod, Massachusetts. And basically what that entails is not a lot of people. Like my town had like 12,000 people in it. It's kind of like a rich area. However, I grew up kind of with lower and stuff. I didn't have that much money and stuff like that. So I came up a really dark kid, and that's actually why I first got into music, just because I was a very dark soul. And I saw it as a way for me to vent my mind and kind of inspire others to chase their dream no matter what their circumstances were. Originally, when I started music, it was more of an outlet than anything. And as I slowly progressed and kind of understood, what exactly this was about, it slowly unraveled into just being my passion and everything. It started as an outlet for me, and then the outlet grew into my way of helping other people. If someone can relate to my music, it's going to help them through a struggle, to let them know it's okay. Other people are going through this. So started as an outlet, and then it grew just more to be my everything. You know what I mean?
I've been waiting for a minute for that wide video to drop.
Man.
And it dropped.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the turnout of it, bro. What did you think about it?
I thought it was pretty dope.
Yeah, I thought the visual, he did very well. The visual was, I've been waiting a long time for that, man. I've been waiting so long for that. But yeah, I was very excited that it finally came out. It was very cinematic, which I was impressed by, so I was very happy with the outcome of it. So yeah, I was in an 8-year relationship. I'm not sure if you know this about me. I'm just gonna get real personal. I was in an 8-year relationship, and I recently broke up a couple months back. But a lot of the love songs and things that I write in that nature come from reference of something in real life, but they're not necessarily, they're not necessarily an actual piece of real life. It's like why I took a bunch of different pieces of my life and the relationship and being in love. I took a bunch of pieces of it and I put that into the song. However, it wasn't necessarily about my relationship or my song. I just took parts of reality, took parts of real life that apply and that I've seen, and kind of, added it into a song that's kind of like third person, my perspective, the girl's perspective, just speaking from, my past endeavors and things like that. That's why I could speak to that. So it was based on real events. It just wasn't my life,
I've been at this 7 years and watched family fall behind. I'm losing touch with my people. I'm growing good with the bad. I'm thinking less about others. Should I reach out to my dad? He missed my whole childhood. Who's really the victim? When I get rich, I'll fly him out and say the 3-year-old missed him. I never knew him as a man, and I ain't prepared to lie. I just want his conscience clear in case we meet in the sky. We won't be father and son, although we look just alike. Let's have a friendship man to man and just catch up on his life. It's crazy.
It was called Forgiven. So Forgiven is basically, I'm glad you bring that song up. That's still to this day arguably one of my favorite songs that I've ever made. It's just a very deep piece for me. And honestly, what originally inspired me to write that one is all real life events. That was actually all me. So that one just really hit my soul, because it ultimately was just a message to my father. Like, listen, if you ever do hear my music, I wrote those first 2 verses to that song. I'm like, listen, if you ever do hear my music, I want you to know that I forgive you. I don't hold this against you. I don't want you to think I have any negative feelings towards you. And then the crazy part is after the first 2 verses were finished being recorded, I was at my man Caesar's house, my producer / engineer, man who helps me with everything. One of his chords wasn't working. And so we were like, okay, well, we're gonna have to come back to this. In that meantime, fucking, oh my God, crazy. My dad, after like 20 years of not talking, left a voicemail on my phone. And I'm like, fuck, what are the chances that I write 2 verses, a chord messes up, and then, you know, my dad reaches out to me.
Yeah, this is Tim calling for Tommy. It's almost 7 o'clock East Coast time. Give me a call. Maybe you have a chance. Thank you very much. I've seen a few of your videos, and heck, they're excellent. And I'm not even a rap fan. But anyway, looking forward to hearing from you. Bye.
Just like crazy. So I ended up throwing the voicemail in the song, and then I threw one more verse about how fate and like everything is just so crazy how everything happens. You know, destiny, how everything's supposed to happen will happen. You know, so that was the story behind Forgiven. Craziness. How come me and my father got so distant? I would say I actually never asked my mom about it, like in depth, but I think it's just because they went through a breakup and maybe he felt like he couldn't be fully there for me. I actually never got to ask him either, so that's actually a good ass question. I have no idea, but basically he left when I was young, I think like my 3rd birthday or something, and we just hadn't been in touch ever since. So yeah, I mean, we were tight when he was around though, I do remember that, and I looked just like him, like I'm like a spitting image of him, so it was pretty crazy. But he ended up coming to one of my shows later on last year after he heard my music and everything like that, so it was dope.
What does he think?
Man, yo, I performed Forgiven at the show, and it was fucking crazy, just because like the song was about forgiving him, and he's in the crowd like listening to me spill these words about him to him, and he was just there. Like, I think he was very emotional about it. I couldn't really see because the spotlight hits you, but ultimately, like when the show was going on, he was like in the background, very emotional, very like you know. So I think it hit him pretty heavy, but it was a dope experience for me. You know what I mean?
Is it hard to put that stuff on paper, like to record it?
Not that so much, because I'm not that sensitive about it, and not to be like a cold-hearted fuck that I am, but like I don't really get fazed by the fact that like my father wasn't around, or that like to me it's another man. Like, I always respect him, and I'm grateful for the life he's given me, and the life he's given me in the sense of not being there, but like I'll never get sensitive about that. Like the breakup songs and stuff like that, that was a little bit more touchy because I was so close to my girl and stuff like that. But that thing wasn't that touchy. Songs about my mom are definitely more emotional and more like directly drawn to me and a little bit harder to record. However, that song wasn't that deep. It was deep for me, but it wasn't that emotionally connecting. You know, I wasn't like hard to record this. You know, I wasn't sad about it. I think it was just a sense of the song, me saying like, listen, you are forgiven. It was more of a relief than anything else. So my mom had boyfriends with me growing up, and this is actually a big piece that inspires me because it made me such a dark kid when I was younger. I used to, like my mom's boyfriends at the time used to beat the crap out of her, like all of them. And I have an older brother, but he would never really step up and get involved. So I was always the youngest responsible to get involved in my mom's fucking getting beat up by her ex-boyfriends and shit like that. But yes, she had, I think, 2 different boyfriends that used to, maybe it was just one of them. I don't remember. But yeah, one of her boyfriends that I clearly remember used to beat the crap out of her. And I'm so against like guys putting their hands on girls for that reason. Just watching like my single mother like try to, you know, fight back against grown-ass men, you know what I mean? Single. So I've been, since the Kendrick album was released, I've been like, yo, I want to put out a project like this. But then, I mean, we're kind of on this subject. But then what happened was I watched a Russ interview, and he was like, yo, so the reason that I drop singles and not an album, because unless you know somebody in the industry telling everybody to go flock to this album, it's very rare that you're gonna find a random artist and go buy a full album. That is a very rare thing. You can barely sit through, with our attention span of today, we barely sit through our favorite artist's album. Why would you go out and find a random artist album and listen all the way through? If you want to get your fan base popping, you have to drop singles, because everybody will spend 3 minutes of their time rather than hours of their day on listening. Even if it's an hour of their day, that's a lot to ask. If you drop a single, there you grab some fans. You drop another single, you grab some fans. Drop another single, you grab some fans. If you drop an album, a lot of those singles on that album will just sit there forever and never actually get played because they'll never make it that far down in the album. You know, so I watched a Russ interview about that. He's like, you have to be naive to think that people are gonna go out of their way and listen to a random new person's album unless you're extremely plugged. You know what I mean? Or you have the budget to push it like that. So Russ was talking about how he worked himself up to be able to do albums because now he has this fan base that will listen to the whole album. But that's why he was dropping singles. He dropped 11 projects and they all did nothing. And he's like, it was naive of me to even try that. But I took that information and I'm like, so true. So I would say the singles I'm dropping, kind of a lot of them you'll see could fit on an album together. However, I'm not putting them out like a collaborative project. It's gonna be boom, 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 as of right now. You know, I might, because of how I like to drop shit, I don't tell anybody before it drops. I literally just put it out there at random times of the day and let the authentic reach of my social media grab everybody. So in the end of the day, I will not be, so I will just be keeping it how it is right now. You know, single, until further ado, you know. Take a minute and tell 5 of your fucking friends personally, don't mass send them a text message. We roll and send them a link of mine. That's all you gotta do. If you seen this interview, right now, hit up 5 other people, even if they're acquaintances and they're fake as shit. Hit them up like, hey brother, what's happening with you? Boom, 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 boom. Send them my link. Just get them on the board. We need to get this movement going. Well, keep the uphill stream and steal people's phones and search my name on Spotify and hit follow. Everybody, steal phones.
That shit talking that you doing ain't really that attractive. And someone lied if they told you that it's cute. I said I'm sorry, I don't sugarcoat a fucking thing. Always trying to be the target when I stop and shoot. I'm not here to talk shit just to get a rise. And I don't really give a fuck about your other guys. We got connected and connection was the sex. I ain't picking up your phone, I ain't reading through your text. Ain't no mission but to finish, ain't no talk.